Hi everyone and welcome to the Knit Shift episode 9. My name is Laura and today is Friday, May 22nd, 2015. If you're new here, this is a knitting podcast. I talk about knitting and a little bit about what's going on in my life. Thank you for choosing to spend some time with me today. I know you could be watching a zillion podcasts, and I'm happy that you're spending a little time with me today, so thank you. Show notes can be found on theknitshift.com. This episode and all episodes can be found on YouTube or on iTunes, and I'm on Instagram as Laura Mahalski, so just send me a follow request. My account is set to private. I'm on Ravelry as Yarnstormer, and we also have a Ravelry group for the Knit Shift, so come on by. We'd love to have you. A few weeks ago, I announced that I would do a giveaway when the Ravelry group got to 100 members. And that happened this week. We are at 100. So I put the numbers 1 through 100 in a random number generator on the internet. And it gave me number 75. And going through the list of members, that was Renisha. So Renisha, I think that's your first name in addition to your username. Congratulations, and please send me a PM on Ravelry, and I will mail this out to you next week. So thanks everyone for joining the Rav group. I'm tickled that you're all there. What's going on this week? Well, I'm going out of town tomorrow. It's Memorial Day weekend here in the States, and my family has a reunion every Memorial Day weekend. We have since I was a little girl, and we've been going to the same place since I'm a little girl, the same park, the same pavilion at the same park in the Pittsburgh area, which is where I grew up. And I wasn't going to go, but I looked at my work calendar a few weeks ago and saw that no one had requested off for Sunday and Monday of Memorial Day weekend, and I work Sunday through Thursday. So I thought, well, why not go? So I booked a hotel. My boyfriend and I are driving up tomorrow. We're going to go to a Pirates game with my brother and his wife and my parents, and then the reunion is Sunday and we drive back Monday. So it's a really whirlwind trip, but I'm really looking forward to seeing family. I could use some family time, so it'll be great. My grandma, the whole reunion is based around my grandma's family. My grandma's maiden name was McCarthy before she got married. My mom's mom, and she's still with us. She's 92. She'll be 93 in July, and the reunion is her and her siblings and the siblings' kids. So my grandma and her brother Jack are the only 2 of the 6 siblings left, but Uncle Jack had 3 kids. My grandma and Pap had 10. My Uncle Joe and Aunt Helen had 10. And my Uncle Tim and Aunt Ruth had 6, I think. And I'm missing Aunt Peg's family. Aunt Peg had 5, 6, 7, I don't know, somewhere up there. And then the other sibling was a nun and didn't have any kids. So my mom has a lot of cousins. I, by association, have a lot of cousins. So I'm looking forward to going up and seeing my family, and I have 2 cousins that had babies in the fall who I knit sweaters for, but I haven't met them yet, Clara and Harper, and I'm excited to see them because they're both 7 months old, which is a good age because they'll interact a little more, and they're just the cutest little girls. I can't wait to hold them, so it'll be a fun weekend. What else has been going on? It's strawberry season here in Southeast Virginia, and I really like to go pick berries, but I just didn't have time this year. And instead, I did the next best thing and bought some local Virginia Beach strawberries at a farmer's market. So the weather's been really nice this week. We've had some really hot days, but we've had several days with temperatures in the 70s, like today. So my boyfriend and I took our dog for a long walk, and then we came back and ate strawberries on the porch, and it was really nice. My dog loves strawberries, and if you follow me on Instagram, you will see photos of Gracie anxiously awaiting her strawberries. And yeah, I think that's about it. Let me look at my show notes real fast. Yeah, I'm just really looking forward to this weekend because I worked last Saturday night overtime. My days off are Friday and Saturday. And if you're new here, I work in a newsroom. I'm an editor at a news organization, and I work nights, evenings mostly, like 4 to midnight. And so I had a one-day weekend last weekend, and so I was really excited for today to roll around. So I'm mostly packed for Pennsylvania because we're only going for 2 days, but after I film this and upload it, I plan to put on my pajamas, basically, and sit and knit and crochet and enjoy the rest of the day catching up on shows on the DVR. I'm always behind on my DVR'd shows. And in the interest of full disclosure, I'm going to watch The Bachelorette tonight. I know, it's mortifying, but I watched last season. That was my first season I ever watched. This last season of The Bachelor. And it was kind of a train wreck, to be honest. And it's not real. That's not love. You're not going to find love on a TV show where you're competing with other women or other men. That's crap. But it's just amazing television, basically. So I didn't watch the premiere, and I didn't watch Tuesday's episode, so I think I'm going to kick back and have a glass of wine and watch The Bachelorette and knit tonight. Like, that sounds like my perfect Friday night, basically. So anyway, that's enough going on in my life, and I'm sorry if my hair looks crazy. I chopped it all off about a month ago, and it's starting to grow out, and I had it styled nicely, and I had a headband in, and then I took the headband out, and now it's just nuts. Like, I feel like it looks like I stuck my finger in a socket, and doing this doesn't help, but, yeah, so pardon if you can you see just how tall my hair is today? It's really giving a halo, so please don't mind the curls. So, on to the knitting. I have no finished objects to show you this week, unfortunately. I thought I might have a pair of socks finished, but that was a little too optimistic of me. I will show you the socks that I've shown you before. These are stockinette socks. I'm knitting these out of Gail's Art Wonder Sock, which is a merino nylon blend. And the colorway is Graffiti and Asphalt. And you can see last week, you can see my little progress keeper here. It doesn't look like I did much, but this was because last week I was still on the gusset. So I finished the gusset, and I turned the heel and knit the heel flap on each of these. I started toe up, of course. I cast on 28 or 32 stitches with Judy's Magic Cast On. And I was trying to do a more rounded toe this time. So I increased every round for about 5 rounds, and then I switched to every 3rd round. So I wanted it to kind of be a nice round toe and then gradually move out. So you can see the toe there. I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see how it wears. And you know, I decided to do a gusset and heel flap with these for the first time in ages. I have become a convert to the book of the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I've become a convert, but it is, sorry, I thought my boyfriend was coming in. He just left. It's hard podcasting when someone's home. I know he's not listening in, but it's just, anyway, he just snuck out the front door. Anyway, I haven't done a gusset and heel flap in quite some time, and I just felt like I really love this yarn so much. You can see how many colors are in it. It's just so pretty. And I just thought, the gusset and heel flap fits my foot so well. Why not just go with this? So that's what I did. And I did a gusset increase, and if you want to, I can zoom in. I did a slip stitch heel, and now I'm on the legs, and it's smooth sailing up the leg into the cuff. So I'm going to be bringing these on my trip this weekend. I'm very optimistic I can finish these. We'll see. I like being the passenger in the car. My boyfriend doesn't mind driving, which is great, so I get lots of knitting time that way. And I don't get car sick from knitting. I get car sick easily, but not from knitting, thank goodness. And I have quite a bit of the cake left. And did I mention the colorway is Graffiti and Asphalt? I bought this yarn at Maryland Sheep and Wool last year, and I love it so much. Ugh, so many colors. So that's one project I have on the needles. I'm sorry if you hear the dog crying. She knows that my boyfriend just left, and the window to this side of me is the perfect height for her to rest her chin on. So that's what she's doing, looking out the window for him. So that's one project I have going, and I have 2 more to show you. The first I will show you is something you've seen before. This is a shawl, and perhaps for the first time ever, I'm not in the middle of a row when I'm showing you this. This is the Serena Shadow Shawl, and I am knitting this on, I want to say 6s, but don't quote me on that. Serena Shadow Shawl is a pattern by Antonia Shankland, and it calls for DK weight yarn, but I chose to use sock yarn instead. The melon color is Fleece Artist BFL sock, BFL nylon blend with no colorway. I purchased it at a yarn store in Montreal, Quebec when I was on vacation. And the green is Copper Corgi Studios Savannah sock, which is a 100% superwash merino base in the colorway Peacock. And I'm really loving how this works up. Something about these 2 colors just kind of called to me, and I think once I block it out, it'll really look fantastic. I love the texture. This shawl, since it's free, I can tell you the basic construction. You can see that the melon color is stockinette, and the teal color is garter. So that's the whole shawl, basically. You knit a garter edging with I'm using the teal color as the garter edging because I have more yardage of it. But I'm coming along here, and you can see I have a stitch marker here to show you. So I've done, a dozen rows or so since last week, but it's not quite ready to be done. It's nowhere near being ready to be done. In fact, I'm trying to make it a little wider and not quite so pointy. So I'm adding extra increases to each side on the wrong side. The pattern calls for you to only do increases on the right side, but every so often I'm throwing in an extra set of increases on the wrong side in the hopes of making it wider sooner. And there's of course a center stitch down the middle. Had I been planning better, I would have made it stockinette. It's garter throughout. I just think a nice stockinette middle stitch looks nicer, but it's neither here nor there. Not a big deal. So I'm plugging away at that. I'm knitting this as part of a knit along for another podcast called The Stitch Addiction, run by my dear friend Kate. She's doing a May and June shawl knit along, and Kate is a knitting goddess and is knitting like 7 shawls right now. I'm not even exaggerating. I think she has that many on the needles. So if you don't watch her podcast, check it out and admire all of her shawl knitting that she has going on right now. I really admire her chutzpah, for lack of a better word. I admire how much she has going, and I'm always super impressed by that. So that's my only shawl on the needles, though I really have so many plans for more shawls. I just don't think I'll be able to knit them by the end of June for her knit along. But I'm focusing on this one because I really like it. And I have one more project to show you. This is a new project. Perhaps I should have opened with this because it's new. And speaking of new, I showed you a new sock I was working on last week, which was a self-striped sock yarn from Online, a German company. I made no progress on it this week, so I left it out because I thought it's nothing to show you, no progress. So I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think 2 episodes ago, that I have a friend from college who's expecting. She's one of my dear friends. She's having a baby in October. They are not finding out the sex of the baby, so I started a scrappy crochet blanket for her. I just wasn't feeling the scrappies this time. I know that might come as a surprise to those of you who know me and know that I love crazy rainbow stuff, but I just wasn't feeling it. And it occurred to me that she went to Penn State, her husband went to Penn State, I went to Penn State, and I just thought, why not make them a baby blanket in Penn State colors? So that's what I did. I went to my local yarn shop called the Yarn Club, which is in Virginia Beach. I cannot recommend it enough. If you ever come to Virginia Beach on vacation or happen to be passing through, and this isn't a town you really just pass through. We're not on the way to anything. We're kind of a cul-de-sac coming down from DC and Richmond. So anyway, if you find yourself in Virginia Beach, I cannot recommend the shop enough. They have tons of indie dyers, a huge amount of stock. They always have new stuff coming in. It's a wonderful shop. And everyone there is really lovely, so please check it out. So I went there and bought some yarn this week. I know that if I knitted a blanket, I would need less yarn because, crochet takes so much more yardage than knitting. But I know myself, and I would never knit a blanket fast enough in time. I'm going to see this friend in July. We had originally had plans for me to take the train up and see her. She lives in New York City. We had originally had plans for me to go up in August to see her, but we moved it up 3 weeks. And in fact, I bought my train ticket this week. So 3 weeks isn't that great amount of time. But when I thought about it and the fact that we're at the end of May, I only have like 8 weeks to make this for her. I thought, oh crap, I better get moving. So I went to the store on Monday, bought the yarn for a Penn State blanket, and cast on. I don't think cast on is the term for crochet. I began crocheting immediately. So I'm so used to saying I'm knitting this. I am crocheting this out of Plymouth Encore, which is an acrylic wool blend. I wanted something washable, and I've used Encore before. It's really nice and soft, so I thought that would be a good option. So the labels are different, but the yarn is the same, Plymouth Encore, and this is Encore in navy blue, and this is Encore in light heather gray. And I bought 5 balls of each of these. And when I began this project, I thought, I'm going to see how far I can go on 1 ball of yarn. I wanted to do really fat stripes. So that's what I did. I knit the first section in gray, and this is all I have left. I said knit. I know I just said knit, and I mean crochet. So I'm knitting this. Darn it! I'm carrying this project in a bag I bought at Maryland Sheep and Wool after the festival when we went to another yarn store. This is a bag from the Knot House, which is in Frederick, Maryland. I highly recommend it if you get the chance to go. And it won't be able to live in there for much longer because it's already getting squished in there for space. So here's my crochet blanket. It's I'll do this so you can see how long it is. It's not very long. It's probably about 3.5 feet wide. And I did 12 rows of the gray, and I'm currently on the 4th row of the navy blue. And you can see it's a ripple blanket. I'm sorry if you can hear the dog barking. There might be someone leaving a package at the front door. I'm doing a ripple pattern, and it's the same one from the scrappy blanket I started a few weeks ago. It is called Soft Waves by Jan Eaton, and it's from a book, which I'll hold up here just a second once I put my project away. It's a pattern called Soft Waves, which is number 6 in the book 200 Ripple Stitch Patterns by Jan Eaton. After I talked about this book last time, I looked it up, and it appears to be out of print, so you might be able to find some secondhand copies on Amazon or eBay, or maybe you'll get lucky and your local bookshop still has it in stock. So I am planning to do, basically probably to use all of the yarn and have 5 stripes of gray and 5 stripes of blue. But I don't know what word I want to use here. I'm particular about how I want things to look sometimes, and I'd like gray to be on the beginning and the end. So I might have 5 gray stripes and 4 blue, which would make it a little shorter. But by my count, if I use all the yarn, it will be 5 feet long. So it might be, I have to sneeze. I'm sorry if I'm making a sneeze face. It might be better if I stop the blanket a little sooner so that it's not super long. I want it to be mostly just a small baby blanket. But that will not be all that I make for this baby. I really love making baby sweaters, and the recipient is such a dear friend of mine. I want to make a blanket and a sweater, which is pretty much unprecedented baby knitting gift. It's unprecedented in my baby gift knitting so far in my life. There will be future babies that I knit a lot more for, but this friend, I don't want to say her name. I told her about the podcast, and she would clearly know it's her, but I won't say her name just for whatever reason. But she is someone I would love to shower this baby in knitwear. You know, if as much as time permits me to make that many projects. So, since they're not finding out the sex of the baby in advance, I have to stick to a kind of a neutral yarn for a sweater, which I'm fine with. I actually really like knitting things that are kind of neutral. I love pink and I love blue, but I don't want anyone to feel like they have to. I don't want to feel obligated to knit those things, and I don't want the parent to feel obligated to love it because it's pink and they're having a girl. You know what I mean? So I kind of like neutral things for babies, especially if someone has another baby. The other baby can wear it too. So I was looking in my stash, and this yarn jumped out at me immediately as something that I thought would be fantastic for a little boy or a little girl. This is Lammy Toes Moon Pie Merino. I know the dyer. Her name is Amanda, and she's a dear friend of mine too. She dyes this fantastic speckled yarn. It's gray, and there are bits of lime green and a yellowy green and a forest green and a Kelly green, and there's turquoise, and then there's black bits, and it's just so soft too. I don't know what the base is, but this is probably one of the softest merino nylon blends I've ever felt in my life. I love it so much. So this will be a baby sweater of some kind. I'm not sure what, because I haven't gotten as far as looking for patterns, but I'm trying to kind of set a little, I don't want to say map. I'm trying to make myself a checklist so that I make sure I make enough progress on the blanket each week in order to get it done by late July when I go to New York. And same goes for the sweater. I think I'm going to cast it on next week. Maybe I'll start it on June 1st and, try and get it done in 6 weeks, something like that. So the nice thing about baby knits is babies are small, so they shouldn't take too long. So so those are my future knitting plans. I have a lot of babies to knit for in my near future. I have another friend who's expecting, and I have a cousin who's expecting in November, but she's having twins, which we've never had in my family before, in terms of since I was born. My dad's mom was a twin, and she died when I was very young, and her twin died before I was born. And yeah, that's it for twins in my family. Some other folks who married into the family have twins, so, but it's exciting. I've never knit for twin babies, so even though the family lives in Florida, I have to knit a little sweater because, there's air conditioning on in Florida all the time. So I want to knit them sweaters. They are finding out the sex of the babies, and at least one of them is a boy. I was messaging with the mom, and she told me they did some early, it's too soon to find out the sex, but they were doing some early genetic testing and learned that there is a Y chromosome. So, where is it? Yeah, Y, duh. There is at least one boy in there. They don't know if it's both or if it's just one. So I know I might start knitting after I finish this baby sweater. I might start knitting a boy sweater I have 2 skeins of green sock yarn. So I think that would be great for a boy or a girl. It's Malabrigo sock that's in my stash. So I'm going to knit sweaters. It might be, if they're both boys, maybe I will knit the same sweater twice. If it's a boy and a girl, I will knit one sweater for the boy and perhaps a more feminine, girly, lacy sweater for the girl. So I'm really excited about that. I I kind of want to knit 2 different sweaters. I don't know if I have it in me to knit the same exact sweater twice, to be honest, back to back. So even if it's 2 boys, I might make 2 different patterns. We'll see. So yeah, I think with all this baby knitting in my future, I think I would like to have a sort of a baby knit along in the group on Ravelry. I don't know if anyone else does baby knitting. I hope so. Maybe so I'm not the only one participating. But if you're knitting something for a baby or a child, I think that could count. And then, maybe it lasts June 1st through the end of July. And at the end, we'll have some prizes. So yeah, I'll have more details on it in next week's episode, but just keep that in mind as you're planning your projects over the next week if you're into knitting some baby and child stuff. And if you've already started some baby and child stuff, that's okay. If it's less than halfway done, it can still count toward the knit along and potential prizes. So, use your best judgment and all that. So that's it for knitting stuff. I have no stash enhancement, but I have a cool thing to show you that I picked up at the Yarn Club when I was there this week. It looks like a magic wand, and I think it was called that on the package. Do I have the tag? In my excitement, I might have thrown the tag away. But it's a needle protector for your circulars. And it has this tip at the end. I don't know if you can see it. You can see there's like a slash through it. And you stick your needles in there, and it keeps them for you. Doing it the wrong way. There we go. And then they're in there. They're stuck in there. So this is a nice thing. You can just kind of stuff it in your bag and not worry about your needles falling off. This was $9 at my yarn store. And the store owner said they've been hugely successful. They ordered 30 and had to order more almost immediately because they sold out all on the first day. So I just think that's really ingenious, just a little metal tube with this silicone thing at the end. So pretty nifty. So that's it for stash enhancement. I have no spinning to show you. I haven't been a good girl in practicing my spinning this week. I'm tempted to bring it with me to Pennsylvania, but I don't know how much I'm going to do it, let's be honest. So there's that. What else did I want to talk to you about? Oh, I have 2 patterns. Well, this moves us to our segment called Odds and Ends. Formerly known as Yay, it just didn't feel like the right name. I'm an editor, so I'm always looking for the right word to describe things. I'm going to call it Odds and Ends, because it's stuff at the end of the episode, but it's all good. So, it's all good stuff. So, I have 2 patterns to show you today. Where did I put the iPad? Oh, there it is, under yarn, of course. Where else would it be? I have 2 patterns to show you, both shawls. I really have shawls on the mind right now. The first one to show you is called Freesia. It's a paid pattern, $6.75 Canadian, or about $5.60 American. And it's an asymmetrical shawl. And I don't know why, but I feel like I talked about this already. So if I'm totally talking about the same shawl that I discussed a month ago, I'm really sorry. My brain is a little harried this week. I just love the ends of the shawl with the lace there. I just think it's so pretty. It calls for 700 to 900 yards of DK weight yarn, and it is designed by Jumper Cables Knitting. No name, just Jumper Cables Knitting. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. And it's not a new pattern. It's been around for a while, but when I saw it, I had to put it in my queue. The other pattern is a free pattern called Marina by Kate Blackburn. And I saw it and I just thought it was so beautiful. It's a traditional triangular lace pattern. It calls for 1 skein of sock yarn, but I think it could be easily modified to make it bigger with 2. And it's triangular. It's just got this great leafy pattern to it. Let me find another photo here. There we go. That's a good one. I just think it's so pretty. I really think I might have to knit this soon. And that's it for my patterns to discuss. And the last thing I wanted to show you was my lipstick. This is one I've had in my lipstick stash for a while. It's Revlon Super Lustrous in Primrose HD. Oop. And it's a very shimmery pink. Like when I wear this, I feel like it's the 80s because it's pretty much a frosty lipstick. I also feel really weird when I zoom the camera in and show you my lipstick. It's shimmery, but it's kind of nice for spring. You can even see the shimmer here. It's just a nice little pink, girly pink. I like it. It feels very nice on my lips. It doesn't, I mean, it comes off. I don't buy lipsticks that are those stick to your lips for 24 hours and I don't know how they get off your lips, frankly. I like lipsticks that are able to come off, but it's very soft and it doesn't dry my lips out. I like it very much. So there you have it, my lipstick of the week. But I will be back next week with plans for the knit along, the Baby Knits knit along. Maybe by then I will have come up with a snappy little name, I hope, and details about it. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Thank you for spending time with me today. I really do appreciate it, and I love hearing from you. So have a fantastic week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend if you are in the States, and enjoy your time off work, and just have a great week doing what you love. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye!